Sam Darley here, and today I'm going to break down. Well, I'm not going to break down anything. Sorry. Well, I'm going to give my 2015 season predictions for the playoffs. These change generally. I'll be a lot clearer after I've seen how teams play. My postseason predictions change because you get to see how the teams play, how everything comes together, and you also get to see the different matchups. But my preseason predictions, I've got for my division winners, I've got in the AFC East, I've got the Patriots. In the South, I've got the Colts. In the West, I've got the Chiefs, and in the North, I've got the Steelers. Now, for the wild cards in the AFC, I'm not convinced that Philip Rivers is 100% healthy. I have to see it for my own eyes. I'm not convinced. I'm not sold on the Dolphins. The one team that could be really scary is the Houston Texans. Now, they have a top 5 defense. At least on paper they do. Their offense has a lot of question marks, starting with the quarterback. But Bill O'Brien last year won 9 games, won every tiebreaker except the Colts tiebreaker. Realistically, their season came down to them blowing a game in Dallas, them blowing a game in Pittsburgh, and them going 1-3 against the NFC East. And them going 0-2 against the Colts. They gotta get 1 against the Colts. And I think they will get 1 against the Colts. I think they play the NFC South, they play the AFC East, which is not that strong outside of New England. If they can sort their quarterback situation out, I mean, the running back situation is not too great either. But, at the end of the day, like I said in my video about whether the Texans are screwed without Foster or not, this is the team that's found a diamond in the rough at running back. They'll find it. That won't change this year. The only thing that raises my eyebrows about the Texans is, can they get production from their quarterbacks, and can they get consistently good production from their offense? Their defense will keep them in every single game. It's going to come down to their offense. Can their offense generate enough points? Can it generate sustaining drives? I look at the AFC a lot, 1 through 6. Actually, you saw 10 teams have winning records in the AFC last year, and I don't think that's going to change. Well, let me pump the brakes. Let me pump the brakes for a minute. I think, maybe a couple of teams will go 8-8. I think you'll see 7 or 8 winning teams. It's going to come down to tiebreakers. That's how the wild card usually is. It's either a record or tiebreakers. So you got to win against your conference, and you got to win against your division. The safest way into the playoffs is to win your division. It's going to be tough for Houston to beat out the Indianapolis Colts. But, people talking about the Colts like they're going to run away with this division. No. Texans are no slouch team. Like I said, they got a top 5 defense. They held the Colts. After that 24-point barrage, they held the Colts to 26 points total in the 2 games. If you exclude that 24-point barrage in the first meeting last year. And it got more athletic. The Texan defense did in the secondary. It got stronger up front. Hard to believe, with J.J. Watt, but they did. They got tougher. They got stronger. So I like them as my 5th seed in the wild card. The first wild card spot, I'm going to give it to them at 10-6. I think them, and I'm also going to go to another quarterback needy team in the AFC, and that's Buffalo. I think they're going to grab that sixth spot, simply because Rex Ryan defenses are no slouch. He's proven he could take an elite defense and an elite rushing attack to deep into the playoffs. He does have to get good production from his quarterback, and they did go 9-7 with Kyle Orton. Matt Castle is not an upgrade over Orton. Then again, he's not an upgrade over. Maybe he's a slight upgrade over EJ Manuel. But again, this goes back. They're a quarterback. They have some quarterback issues too. And a lot of people say it doesn't matter how good your roster is, if you don't have a quarterback, you're going to struggle. Yeah, I think that's kind of true. But Baltimore, to me, it changes to the offensive system. They've changed offensive coordinators each of the last 2 years, if I recall correctly. Kubiak's gone over to Denver. I just think eventually Flacco needs some continuity with an offense. He needs an offensive system. It's not going to change year in and year out. Steve Smith is retiring. I could definitely see them making a push for the playoffs. They could upend the Bills at the 6th spot. But, again, last year, if they played anybody but the Browns, they don't make the playoffs. The reason they made the playoffs is because they played Cleveland on the last day of the year. And I'm not going to blame them because they had to beat Cleveland to make the playoffs, and they were losing that game initially, and then they came back and won it. And you play who's on your schedule, so it's not you can't blame the Ravens. My point is the Texans won every tiebreaker, and they would have been in the playoffs had the Ravens lost. The Ravens, to me, do they have a running game? That was my concern for them in my training camp video for the AFC North. What's that running game going to look like? And yes, I think running backs are becoming more important now. The Seahawks making it to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row with Marshawn Lynch essentially dominating the Rock, except for the goal line play. Sorry. You're seeing teams now going back to that old school mentality of running the ball, because when you run the ball, you're able to control the line of scrimmage, you're able to control the game, you're able to cut down your opponent's possessions, and you just make the game so much easier. And you make the game so much easier for your quarterback. It creates a different dimension to your passing game. You're able to play action, shotgun, and all that other stuff in the passing game. Screens, the running back can be used in so many different ways. You can use him as a wide receiver. He could be a good pass protector. My number one seed, my top 3 in the AFC is going to be the Chiefs. At number 2, I've got the Steelers, and at 3, I've got the Colts. And at 4, I got the Patriots because I think the Brady suspension is going to hurt them just a little bit, not enough to knock them. Not enough to knock them off the throne. In the AFC East, there's no team strong enough to overtake them in that division. On the NFC side, it's pretty interesting, but I still think 1 and 2 is going to be Green Bay and Seattle. I just think it'll be the other way around. I think Green Bay will get the 1 seed. I don't know how healthy the Legion of Boom is, and how healthy they're going to be all season long. And when I'm making these predictions, I'm keeping in mind injuries. A lot of these teams, especially Green Bay and Indianapolis, if they lose Rodgers or Luck, they're done. They're done. There's no 2 ways around it. They're so quarterback dependent. These teams like Seattle and Pittsburgh, Kansas City, they lead on the running game. If I was Green Bay, I would probably give Eddie Lacy more touches this year. It's because he's a big dude, and you, like Le'Veon Bell, you can create so many matchup problems in the open field for linebackers. He's tough to bring down. He'll drag in the safeties. He'll drag in the corners. And then Rodgers is able to go over the top to Jordy Nelson. There's just so many ways you could go. But if I was them, I would probably run the rock more with Eddie Lacy. And not because I have him in fantasy, because I don't. I was not that lucky to take him in fantasy league, but it benefits. But to me, on the field, it benefits their team if they run the ball more. Because Rodgers has had a couple of years where he's been banged up, and you could really use that. You could really. Leaning on Lacy is. It's a great idea. He's a number 1 running back on any team, and he's a number 1 in Green Bay. But I feel like he's not being targeted enough. And like I said, he can do so many things. He can be a lethal slot receiver. He can come out. He can come out the backfield and make plays. The passing game, he's a lethal runner. He's big, he's powerful. But number 2, the top 2, I have the Green Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks. That hasn't changed. Number 3, I'm gonna go with the Dallas Cowboys. because I feel like the NFC South is just, the NFL has not made any changes to the playoffs, the way the playoffs is set up. So, and I said the Cowboys would have like a 9-7 record. And I'm being serious here. They went 8-8 because they try to win sexy by throwing the ball a lot, not running the rock a lot, not relying on the running game, because they're a run first team realistically. I think they're gonna try and do that. I think they're gonna try and get sexy again, and I think it's gonna cost them a couple of games. Number 4, somebody has to win an NFC South, and I hate to say it. Because my 5th spot is going to have a better record than the NFC South winner, and that's going to be the Atlanta Falcons at 4. Like I said, I have them at 8-8. None of those teams should be in the playoffs because they're just so much. It's the weakest division in football. There's a lot of weak teams. I'll be realistic. If either the Browns or 49ers win that division, they'd have a legit shot at making the playoffs. The 5th seed, I'm going to go with the St. Louis Rams. I think they're going to finally break through. I think Foles is going to stay healthy and prove that he's a franchise quarterback. They've got a top 10 defense. They've got to solve this running back situation. Trey Mason I like a lot. I'm surprised that if they're not going to make him the number 1 option, they should probably entertain the idea of trading him. Because there's a team, there's a few teams that probably would like to have a guy like Mason. He excelled. He did very well last year in his starts, but their offensive line is still a little shaky, and I have question marks. Can they keep the quarterback healthy? And I don't have any question marks about their defense. Their defense is stacked. It's good, but Jeff Fisher's got to get the team to the playoffs. My number 6 team, I'm gonna go with the Detroit Lions. I know in the AFC North training camp preview, I said that it's going to be tough between the Vikings and the Lions to pick that 6th spot. I feel like the Lions experience, and they'll have. I think they'll beat. I think they'll come down to tiebreakers for the 6th spot. I don't think Minnesota still. I think Minnesota is like the Oakland Raiders. I think they're going to be really good. I don't think the Raiders will be really good. They'll be okay, but I think the Vikings will be 9-7. But I think they've not been to the playoffs in 3 years. They got a young quarterback who's not really used to the pressure of playing, and he's got NFL experience, but we're talking about Detroit Lions team that played the playoffs last year, and they feel like they've bolstered their running game, and honestly, Amir Abdullah could be really good. But again, Minnesota, I don't know if they have enough to. I think it's tough for me to say between these two teams because they don't wow me, but I don't think there's a team in the NFC that can overtake these two. The Giants could be a wild card, and honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if the Giants did get that last wild card spot, but it also wouldn't shock me if they didn't. So it's between the Vikings and the Lions, in my opinion. Again, you just don't know what's going to happen until the season starts. Oh, my Super Bowl prediction. If Le'Veon Bell is healthy and not in trouble with the law, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have a great chance. I think they probably will win the AFC. I feel like the NFC is a stronger conference, though. I feel like Green Bay is going to right the wrong of blowing last year's championship game. I think they're going to make it to the Super Bowl, and I think they'll win it. I think last year's painful loss in the championship game, they're going to be motivated to get that top seed, and then they'll get it. I don't think Seattle can go to Green Bay and beat them. There's something about Lambeau and Seattle that just makes you feel like, well, the road team's not going to win. But my Super Bowl prediction is Green Bay and Pittsburgh, or Green Bay winning. I'm going to go ahead and say this real quick about the Geno Smith situation. It's ridiculous. I said in my AFC East preview that he's got the talent to be a really good quarterback. He hasn't quite been consistent. He hasn't had the weapons. And this year seemed like it was going to be the year that he was going to finally turn the corner. Finally prove to everybody, prove to the haters that he was a franchise quarterback. He's capable of being the guy in New York. And then he gets sucker punched and he's out for 6 weeks at least. For 10 weeks at the latest. That's what I heard. The quarterback and the coach both have to get tons and tons of respect from the rest of the team. If the team doesn't respect your quarterback, they're not going to play hard for him. I'll use the 2013 Texans season as an example. When Shaw was, throwing interceptions left and right, it was easy for the guys to say to the media, yeah, we're behind him, this, he's a good quarterback, he's that. But when you keep turning the ball over and you keep deflating your team's confidence, I'm not trying to make a deflategate joke, just for the record. You keep letting your team down, your teammates are going to stop playing for you. It's kind of like a coach when they're going to tune out the coach. Players tune out the coaches, and when they don't respect the coach, it seems like Bowles' first year is going to be a huge test, and his starting quarterback is Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, he had a nice season for the Texans last year, but that was Bill O'Brien coaching him. Bowles is not O'Brien. At least, I don't know. He's not looked at as a quarterback guru or an offensive guru. To me, the whole locker room is just epitomizes the locker room of the Jets. Guys, tempers flare in training camp. They do, because teams get sick of practicing against the same guys over and over again. They want to go out and hit somebody. They do. They want to go out and play somebody and hit somebody. And, you got trash talking, you got guys trying to get jobs, trying to make a team. And so when you got guys making, when you got your quarterback, you got your franchise quarterback making, I don't know what went on in that locker room for the linebacker. I'm just gonna call him the linebacker because heck, I don't even know his name. I know he's got a record. I know he's been charged with assault of a police officer. But whatever it did to set him off, it had to be boiling over time. They just decided to go, I'm going to go sucker punch the quarterback. Geno obviously did something. But your quarterback can't do that. Your quarterback has to be smart. And honestly, the quarterbacks need to stop getting hit in practice. I'm sorry. This whole, you're protecting your franchise quarterback. No, I'm old school. If I was playing quarterback in the NFL and I was talking trash, I'd expect somebody on the defensive side of the ball, or even, it may not even have to be the defensive side of the ball. It could be, my tight end. I could just yell at my tight end for dropping an easy touchdown, and he might have been like, he might be pissed off or something. He might want to come at me and hit me, but he can't because I'm a franchise quarterback, But I would expect guys. I don't agree with the league of how they set up to protect these quarterbacks. To be honest with you, if they talk trash and somebody takes offense to it and wants to hit them, go ahead, hit them. But it's ridiculous. The Jets situation is just ridiculous. We'll have to see going forward on who makes the playoffs and who wins the divisions. But Geno Smith's situation is just a mess. This has been Sam Darley breaking down my season predictions. Thanks for watching.